Hello, I welcome you all to NPTEL online lectures on the course entitled Soft Skills. Hope you are all enjoying this course. Presently, we are dealing with the section Writing Skills, and in previous lectures we have talked about what writing skills are, what are the various principles involved in writing skills. Now, we are going to talk about business letters. As we remember well, we have talked about the various documents that you as a student aspiring to be a professional would have to write in the days to come. And in that, we had decided that we will have separate lectures on business letters, and the lectures that follow today are going to be concentrating on business letters. Now, the question is, what actually are business letters and why do we need to write them? But before we go into the details of business letters, let us also try to understand what are letters and why do we need them. Do we, in an age of technology, really need letters? Of course, many of you might be feeling that in a technically advanced age of today, letters have lost their importance. It may only be a half truth, because as you see, when you have to deal with customers, clients, shareholders and all, organizations actually need a sort of communication, and this communication in its written form can be termed as business letters. Now, if we have a look at what letters were in the olden days, you will find that there has been a sea change in the drafting of letters. I do remember a line from an essay where a lady in Horace Walpole's essay says, I write to you because I have nothing to do. I finish my letter because I have nothing to say. Dear friends, in an age today, we have a lot to say and we have a lot to write, and that is why we have to draft business letters. Now, business letters, as the term itself says, it has the word business involved in it, meaning thereby these are letters which are actually meant for the purposes of business, and especially these written documents are a bit formal. Now, here there is a point of caution to know that when you write letters, I mean personal letters, or when you write letters for general purposes and the letters for business, they are totally different from each other. Now, what are actually the various differences? Because when you write a personal letter, you have the person whom you know very well, but when you write a business letter, on many of the occasions you do not know them. And since the purposes of business writings are different, naturally they will have differences of various kinds in terms of tone, in terms of content, in terms of approach, and that is why in order to succeed today in a world which is drowned by business in every walk of life, you have to understand the importance of business letters, and moreover you also should know how to write letters for different occasions and in different ways. What actually are the differences? Every letter is different, every letter is distinct. In olden days, when people used to write letters, they actually used to be also very careful about the weather, and it is said that a good letter written in those days used to act like a good essay. Now, things have changed, needs have changed, expectations have changed, and especially at the workplace or the business place, there are variety of situations which have actually necessitated the difference in terms of letter writing. Now, what actually are the functions that a business letter serves? A business letter, as we have been saying, it is actually between an organization and a customer. It may also between an organization and firm. It is also between individuals at times when a person, I mean an official writes a letter to another official. Hence, through business letters, it is actually a sort of renewal of rapport. It is a communication which helps speed up the process of business. Moreover, letters can be kept as a record, and that is why they can be cited for references in terms of future dealings. You might every now and then come across certain things, certain dealings which you had with an organization in past, and once again when the need arises, you want to write to them. Naturally, you can cite your previous experience, you can refer to the previous dealings, and that way business becomes more smooth. Moreover, every organization wants to know what are the developments in a particular area, and for that you will find that it is through a letter. It is through a letter that you can promote a product. It is through a letter that you can also understand the feedback of the customers. It is also through letters that you can enhance your business activities outside one state, outside one country, outside one organization, and that is how these letters can create a beautiful rapport with the organization as well as with managers. It is actually a medium through which people, community, organization, and at times even nations also come to know each other. That is why the importance of business letters is not on the wane, but it is on the rise. However, we feel that with the technical advancements nowadays, the letter that earlier used to be, I mean with the help of the pen and paper, of course that might have been substituted by technical gadgets, and people have been writing letters by word processing them, but after all it is a sort of writing which has to take care of the other party. A business letter also demonstrates, even though it is between two organizations, but it is a person who writes. A person who writes the letter, he writes on behalf of the organization, and at times you see that the person who is writing the letter, his personality, his ability, his thinking caliber, and all these, they also come to light. And there has been seen that many organizations, while hiring their employees, they see to it that they also hire employees who are not only good at spoken skills, but at written skills also. And when they say written skills, they also have these business letters in their mind, because when you are writing a business letter, especially in an organization, you are actually trying to convince the other party. You are either trying to have some information, or you are trying to get some information, you are trying to order for goods, you are trying to also give feedback about a particular item or a particular say product, but then in some way or the other it looks like an MOU, that is memorandum of understanding. No business can run without the proper documentation and dissemination of business letters. It is through letters that most of the businesses are being transacted nowadays, and when you are continuously writing letter to one organization or to one particular person, you also try to understand by the feedback, and you also try to bring certain changes in certain products that you have launched or you are going to launch, because we are living in a competitive age where it is only through information that we can make ourselves stronger. Now, the need here is to know the basic differences between a business letter and a general purpose letter. Let me tell you here that a general purpose letter is the one that you write to your relatives, to your friends, to your kinsmen and to others. But when you write a business letter, you are actually writing it to an organization, whether it is a person. But remember, while the exchange of letters is between two organizations, it is actually between two people also, two persons also. Hence, the need of the hour is to see that you maintain a proper cordiality and a cooperation while writing a letter. We have already discussed about the various principles in one of our lectures when we are talking about the various principles of business writing. And when we say business writing, business letters is also one of them. Now, the point of difference between these two letters, I mean general purpose letters and the business letters, is that of tone. Now, the question is, what should the tone be like? What should the content? When you write a personal letter, you do not have too much restrictions. You are not confined. You are not bound. I do remember many personal letters of great writers like Charles Lamb, Thomas Gray, Carlyle, like Robert Lind. All these people who had been very famous in terms of letter writing, they also saw to it that they also depicted the weather. They also talked about the health of some people in the family and all. But then when we come to the business letters, these things are not to be taken into consideration. Business letters means talking about business only and not having talks about family matters and all. Hence, it is not only different in terms of content, it is also different in terms of tone. What should the tone be like? We have already talked about in previous lecture that there can be two tones. One can be a persuasive tone. Most of the business documents for that matter, while you are going to explain, while you are going to write, you are going to follow a persuasive tone. But remember, in business, people always want that the writing has to be very explicit and not implicit. I mean, clarity, which we had said will be the hallmark of every writing, and business letter is also not an exception in that regard. Hence, when we talk about the tone, of course, you have to be very direct. I mean, whatever you want, you have to specify. You cannot create a background in the very first paragraph and then in the second one you will go and talk about. It is not like that, because in business, time is a commodity and you have to save time, and for that, letter writers, especially who are writing business letters, should see that they are also maintaining a cordiality, but they are also seeing to it that time is also saved. Remember that one has to follow a neutral tone. Here you cannot be very subjective, you cannot be very emotive as you are when you are writing a general purpose letter. You have to be neutral, but at the same time your tone should not be any way offending, or it should not be hurting anyway, it should not be insulting. Most of the time it has been seen that people, when they are angry and if they write something, that results in becoming either sarcastic, sometimes it becomes ironical, sometimes it also becomes hurting, but that will not be allowed here when you are writing a business letter, because business letters serve a specific purpose. It has got a formal touch. As you will find, business letters have formal touch and the language used is very simple. In principles of writing, we also discussed that there is no room for difficult words. There is no room for say sesquipedalian or lengthy words, lengthy sentences. It has to be, a business letter has to be formal, but then the language has to be very simple so that people, I mean both the people who are sending and the other one who is to receive, they should understand the basic purpose. Personal letters, as I said, if they are written very carefully, they can amount to, or they can result into very beautiful essays. We have plethora of examples when the letters of Robert Lind, letters of A.G. Gardiner, letters of Thomas Gray, Carlyle, Lord Chesterfield and all, they have been very exemplary in terms of letting people know how pleasant an art letter writing is. Of course, letter writing is a pleasant art, but here when you are in the world of business, you are to see that letter writing has to be taken great care of while you are writing from one organization to another, since you are representing that organization. Now, of course, since there are differences galore, you also must know how should a business letter be drafted. What actually are the essential requirements, dear friends? In an age today of electronic mails, chats and voice mails, letter writing of course have been paid or are being paid less attention, and that is why there has been a lot of disturbances and lot of problems when a person has to write letter. In many of the situations, people actually do not attach importance to layout, format, structure, but these things are really a part and parcel of the letter, because it denotes the practice of letter being written in one organization. Now, let us try to understand what are the basic structure and format of a letter. Here we will talk about all the structural part of the letter one by one. A letter, especially a business letter, will have at least 10 parts. Suppose you are working in an organization or you are going to work in an organization, when you are to write a letter, you will find that all the organizations, they have their printed letter heads. So, the first item in terms of a structure is a letterhead. Now, what is a letterhead and how, where should the letterhead be? In most of the organizations, though they vary in terms of their letterheads, in some organizations you will find the letterhead is always at the top center, but yet in some it may also be towards the left, while some organizations follow letterhead to be on the right hand side, or some follow it to be on the left hand side. On the right hand side they write the address and other telephones and other things, but then you are to follow the letterhead which your organization follows. You will find when you write on a letterhead, actually you are representing an organization. That is why follow the practice, even in terms of letter writing and the format also, you have to follow the format which the said organization follows. So, the first is the letterhead, then comes the date, then comes the reference, inside address, subject line, then salutation, body, complimentary clause, signature line and enclosures. Now, let us try to understand one by one. You see, my dear friends, it is very important for all of you to know the structural part of the letter, because in a whirlwind of emails and technical exchanges, we have perhaps said a goodbye to references, and we have said a goodbye to salutation. Salutations have become very indiscreet. People do not bother to give salutations when they write, and you know, our habits are often spoiled because of the excessive use of technology, excessive use of computers. But in many organizations, they see to it that they maintain this decorum and they follow the requisite guidelines of letter writing. Now, what is a letterhead? As I said earlier, many organizations, they have different ways of having a letterhead. It varies from one organization to another. Here you can see in this organization, here if the name of the organization is in the middle, no, at the top center on the right hand page, the logo may be on the right, logo may not be in the center, but then this may vary also if you are working in some other organization where the practice is that the letterhead will follow the address or the logo on the left hand side or the address on the right hand side. So, you have to maintain the practice that is allowed and that is followed in the organization where you are working. Say to it that the logo has all the details such as the location, the telephone, the fax number, the website information, everything, because you know, sometimes or the other when you are writing to them, suppose you get a letter from one organization and you are going to respond to them, Maybe sometimes you are not in a position to write letters, but then you want to simply talk to them. So, it is only through the letterhead of that organization that you get the number, and you can just give them a call and should know about the developments or what sort of queries you have. Next to that is the date line. Remember, you are actually to mention the date, and the date should be written as the same on which you are writing. This date actually, since you know all these letters are going to be kept in record, so the date has to be mentioned, and it is through date that when you respond, you will also make out of this date a reference date. You know, many business letters you will find as per your letter number this and this, dated this and this. So, what is it? Actually, this is about the date. So, on the right hand side, not more than 2 spaces you have to write the date. Even if the company has got a logo, it may not have the date written. Date will be written by you, I mean by the letter writer, and the name of the month comes first. Most of the organizations, they write the date as here. Suppose it is March 10, so they will write like this, March 10, 2017. Some organizations have the practice of writing 10/3/2017. In certain cases, they may have some differences, but remember, you are not to change it, you are actually to follow the practice which is allowed in your organization. Next to date is the reference. Now, here as I was saying, please see, if you find that the date is there on the letterhead, the date that you write on the letterhead, this will actually help you write the reference. And most of the business letters, whether it is a letter of query, it is a letter of inquiry, it is actually a letter for orders or whatsoever, it is actually the reference number. Suppose something went wrong, because you know things may go wrong in business. Now, everything is not in our hands. So, something goes wrong, and if you are going to write that, and business in business people are so busy that it is very difficult to decipher which letter, which date. That is why the reference is written, and when you write the reference, you write both the references, I mean your reference and their reference. So, you may also mention our reference this, here the date is there, sometimes the month is there, sometimes the departmental, departmental information is also there. That all these are given in brief. They may be given in say in a very brief manner, as here HCW. I mean this may be a sort of code for a particular section or a particular department. ICS, this again we may be instrumentation center, like something like that. So, you have to be aware of from where you are writing, and when you are writing, please put both of these, our reference and your reference. Next is the inside address. I mean this is actually the address, I mean the person, this is the address of the recipient. When you are writing the address, it will once again after you have written the date, just you have to come. Now, here it is very important to tell you that if you are going to write a letter in a format which allows the date to be written on the right or to the left, this once again varies from organization to organization. We shall in the next lecture talk about how every organization will have a different format of letter writing. So, depending upon the format, after the date, please write the inside address, and when you write the inside address, in many cases you are writing to the manager, but in certain cases you know the name of the manager. So, if you know the name of the manager, you can write, and if the business transaction is going on for a long time and you know each other, then only you can write Mr. such and such. But if you do not know and you are writing the letter for the first time, you can simply write the general manager or whatsoever. Especially when you are writing from the organization, and if it is a letter where you do not want to write the name, it is often written Messrs before the firm, Messrs such and such. And in case you know the person to whom you are corresponding, you can write. But when you are writing the inside address, see to it that the inside address is written correctly, the inside address is written accurately. For example, the name of the person, but before every name either write, depending upon the gender, depending upon the designation, if you are writing to a person and who is a doctorate, you should write Dr. such and such. But then if you know the name, I mean, it is always advisable that you write the full name, Sri Rajkumar Vat, as I have written here, Sri Rajkumar Vat, 25 Wintermere Cottage. I mean, this is the entire address, Summer Hills, Simla, and then the Himachal Pradesh. I mean, this is the complete address which is written in inside address. Next to inside address is of utmost importance is subject line as well as salutation. My dear friends, with a very sad hurt, let me tell you that in this age of email, this salutation has undergone a change. You know, in email you will find people not writing dear, hey, why, like this. But remember, when you are writing a letter, and especially a business letter, you have to be very considerate. We talked about the courtesy and consideration in the previous lecture. So please write dear sir or dear madam. In certain cases where you do not know the person's gender, you can write the both dear sir oblique madam. But in such cases where you know the person is a man, you write dear sir. Dear is to be written. I have seen many letters coming where people are even confused whether to write dear or not. Sometimes it becomes very difficult. But you know, since we are cordial beings, it is always appropriate to write dear sir. Now the question about punctuation also varies from one format to another. In a certain format, after dear sir, you can write the comma, but when you are writing a full block form, you will find, which we will discuss later, that there is no need of putting a comma. And next to that, just after dear sir, has to be a subject line. I mean, business people are very busy, that is why they are business people. And of course, we do not have much time. Maybe at times people may not have too much time to read the entire content of the letter. So it is only through the subject line that they come to know what it is about. So in subject line, please see that you write clearly about the subject. For example, regarding replacement of solar panel batteries, or transfer of my savings account, or regarding the status of my article, like this, you know, your subjects will vary. So depending upon your subject, please write the subject very clearly, and just after you have written the subject, now is the time to begin your letter. Once you start your letter, I mean, this we call as the letter body. This letter body, depending upon your need and the expectation of the other party, this may vary, but then here you are to talk about the subject or the business that you want to transact. Sometimes it may be 2 paragraphs, sometimes it may be 3 paragraphs. But see to it that brevity is the soul of wit. It is always better to write the less and mean more. For that, you need to have a control over your vocabulary and all. But it has already been seen that the body of the letter has to be divided into 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph will be the beginning, where specifically, I mean in a very direct manner, you will come to the topic, and then finally what matter is to be transacted. But next to that will be a little bit of discussion depending upon the nature of the letter, whether it is sales letter, complaint letter, whatsoever. So depending upon the nature, it may also vary. And once you have completed your letter, the remaining part will be the closing line of your letter. Remember, when you close the line, majority of people even now, while they are going to close a line or give the complimentary close, what they do is they have a participial ending. For example, they will say, waiting to see you, hoping to get your response. All these are negatives. All these are not, you know, welcome. It is always better to write the complete sentence. For example, you can say, I wait to get your letter soon. I hope to hear from you soon. I look forward to meet you soon. I look forward to receiving your answer soon. I mean, these are the ways which you should adapt when you are going to close your letter. I mean, when you are going to give a complimentary close, and then finally ending your letter. Once you end your letter, I mean, here also majority of people write yours faithfully, but then this also varies. Sometimes people also write sincerely, depending upon your nature with the person. That is why it is always better to write yours faithfully or sincerely. Then there are also people who write yours truly. Nowadays there has been a fashion when people try to show more cordiality, and they also write yours cordially. But on an average, you will find that when they write yours sincerely or yours faithfully, a good number of people put an apostrophe after your. This is wrong. So at this stage, let me advise you that when you write your letter, write yours completely and then write sincerely. A student writing to his teacher may write yours obediently, but then the general trend or one thing that can save your face always is either yours sincerely or yours faithfully. Having given a complimentary clause comes the signature line, where the writer of the letter need to put his name. And because we are nowadays word processing our letter, so what we do is we write our name in a bracket and we leave some space between yours faithfully and your name, because we can put our signature. For example, here you can see it is written yours sincerely Pranita Goswami, and the gap is there. I mean, it is always advisable to give 2 lines gap so that the person may put his or her signature. Sometimes you may also write on behalf of your organization for some organization. In that case, if you are not in the position of writing letters every now and then, and you are writing on somebody's behalf, you write for Arvind Prakashan, for such and such organization, and you write your name and put your signature. Once, in business world, there is actually a practice that people dictate their letters, especially people at the top post, those who do not have time enough, they actually dictate their letters, and somebody is typing the letters. So in such a case, if it is so, there has to be, just after the signature line, there are identification marks. Say for example, if I am dictating my letters and somebody is taking a note for it, naturally these abbreviated forms, as I have put here, I mean BM is the person who is actually dictating the letter, another person LKI, I mean this is somebody who has typed the letter. In certain cases, name of the person who dictates is not there. There are initials, and these are the names. These are actually the names of the people who have just typed the letter. Now, when you have given the identification marks, another important thing is, in some letters you will find, especially in business letters, you will find that you have to attach something. Sometimes you have to give some supplementary piece of paper or whatsoever, some documents as a part of evidence and all. So for that, you have a special column where you can call enclosures. Remember, this is actually a safe way to put enclosures, because sometimes in organizations it may so happen that some of your pages are lost. So if on the first page where you write enclosure and you also mention 3 pages in bracket, you can also write, or you can also mention, enclosures, here you can write 3, and you can also say that you have enclosed a check, you have also enclosed a purchase receipt, or you have also enclosed a copy of the order. So these things are actually for the evidence. So do put it in a business letter, and once you have done all these, get ready with an envelope. Now, depending upon your letter size, you should choose the envelope. In many organizations, you have the printed envelope in which you can put your letter, and the letter is ready to be posted. Now, once you have done all that, please see that letters, especially business letters, they serve as a record. They are to be kept, because for future references, it is these letters which can come to our help. But then what is of utmost importance is these exchange of letters are actually the exchange of goodwill. That is why we say it builds relationship, and every business, it is actually the outcome of a goodwill, it is outcome of a relationship. That is why the language, when you talk about the language, see to it that you are throughout polite, because as Lord Chesterfield one of the essayists of olden days, he also advises that politeness is as much concerned in answering letters within a reasonable time as it is in returning a bow immediately. So, all of you as future letter writers will maintain this politeness and cordiality, so that your business letters try to bridge the gap and try to ensure a positive relation between two organizations, since they will help in making a business grow, making a business thrive. With this in mind, we shall in the next lecture talk about the format, and we will also talk about the language. Thank you very much.